Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of A Scene or Two About Failure, a podcast show where my guests come to talk about one time or the other where they faced some challenges and failures and how they overcame it. My name is Ife Dolakolawol and I'm your host. And today I have three amazing guests still from across Africa, and I'm going to be introducing them shortly. My first guest is the man that wears a lot of hats, Lindo from Eswatini, the founder of Uyo Tech. Did I pronounce that correctly? Uyo Tech. Yeah, and then my next guest is Joachim from Angola, the founder of Saito. And the beautiful lady on the couch is Emily Sande from Sierra Leone, the founder and business lead of Connect Lab Limited.
Connect SL Limited.
Connect
Fande.
Fande. Emily Fande, the founder and business lead of Connect SL Limited. Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Angola, Eswatini, and Sierra Leone. That's like different geographical part of Africa. Is this your first time in Nigeria?
Actually, it's my first time, and thank you for making this opportunity a reality. It's such a pleasure for me. Thank you so much.
No, I should be thanking you for being here.
Likewise. So, anyways, it's fine.
Yeah, Joachim, is this your first time?
What an introduction. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah, it's the first time in Nigeria, first time in Lagos, and it's a true pleasure to meet all of you and target a new audience. So in Angola, we speak Portuguese, so we try to extend to have if we can reach you. Thank you again.
Yeah, and your English is perfect.
Yeah, I lived in South Africa for 3 years, so this is where I learned my English and never left it. It's like bicycle.
Oh, nice. And Emily, your first time?
It is my first time in Nigeria and Lagos, and Kushe to all the viewers, and also Ife, you're looking stunning.
Thank you. So are you. I mean, you guys came across like different African countries. The least I could do is to look presentable for you guys, to look good for you guys.
It's still an honor to me. Lagos is lovely, so I think Nigeria is one represented here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I told him just before we started, I felt like very lucky to be beside
Aww.
Emily just here. But when you just arrived, it was even better. I felt like I'm surrounded by beauty. So yeah.
Flattery will get you. Flattery will get you everywhere in Nigeria. Yeah. So going by the name, is too about failure. I want us to discuss that one time when you guys have failed, especially as startup founders. And I know as entrepreneurs, we tend to fail a lot because we are not perfect. But we also can beat ourselves down too much because there's a lot to do and we have very little time for like crying and sobbing. We need to pick back the ball up. So my question to you is, has there been any time during your entrepreneurial life where you failed, and how did you overcome that particular failure?
Well, I think that's a good question, and in answering it, I would say, and to anyone amongst us here, you can't be an entrepreneur without encountering failures. I think that's one of the aspects of being an entrepreneur. It's quite hard, the entrepreneurial part. It's the hardest one compared to a business person who's already established. So I would assess as an entrepreneur, I've encountered failures, not just one, but a lot of them, which is it's just part of the journey. It's what you should know. You get into whatever business you are trying to pursue, just know one thing: failure is a guarantee. And if you're not ready to encounter failures, then that means you're doing nothing. Yeah.
So do you have like one particular example, like I failed by hiring the wrong person, or I failed by...
I think hiring is even something else much bigger. Sometimes you can even fail like coming up with a strategy from the get-go, trying to craft the idea, making it perfect, trying to even convince your own, the next person, immediate relative. Those people who are supposed to be, believe in you from the get-go. They're just like, no, this is just a dream. It's impossible. So those are part of the failures you come across.
Yeah. And Joachim, do you have any particular failure?
First, one thing very quickly. When you first invited me to participate in this podcast, I was very happy. But then I realized about the name of the podcast,
Yeah.
and it really resonated with me because I really try to embrace failure. That's one thing that I say whenever I meet someone that I've been failing like for the past 2 years,
Oh wow.
and I really I enjoy failing because it's always a way to learn. So to get back to your question, yeah, sure. Like you say, it's deeply linked to the entrepreneurial experience. But I think I consider myself very lucky in the sense that it was on the first year of my entrepreneurial journey that I really felt the real challenges coming to me, the real failures, in a sense that I had like a mix of many failures at the same time, both in relationships, both in family, in studies, in professional, and it all happened at the same time. So I was really, really deep into it. But the way got out of it, very simple. I had two choices. Either I let's say disappear, or I just start to learn something that I never learned before. It's discipline. So I stayed on my side. I said, okay, my life is shit, but let's go. Let's try to do something because you're someone with a high opinion of yourself. So let's try to live up to this opinion. And so I started applying some discipline into myself, my own life, and this was the best choice of my life because I'm here today. And, I'm very happy to be here.
And I'm happy you didn't disappear. Because then you wouldn't be here.
Go home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Emily, what about you? Has there been a time?
It's funny, we talked about a major failure that I have encountered, but I'm not going to talk about that one here.
Just for me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have to
Just
subscribe.
for you. So it's been a journey so far, and for me, failure is something I embrace. One thing my close people will say, my friend Suna, she says whenever I brag about you, I tell them you're the most resilient person I know.
Ooh,
So
that's
that
good.
tells you how much I have fallen and had reasons to stay down, but then I just keep coming back up. And when people see the pretty side, they're like, oh, this person is very good at what she does, but they don't see how many times you failed.
Yeah.
And the tears behind closed doors. So this is my second business actually.
Wow.
It's my first registered business, but when I started this one, I started with some friends who were all teenagers, and we had to pursue college, and everybody had to go their own separate ways. And when we started, it wasn't fintech; it was actually digital marketing, and we were way ahead of the market at the time. That was not considered failure. I moved on to another business, which was a Korean delivery service. And even though I had been working and I had experience because I started working at 17, I had some experience with working, but then running a business was something entirely different. And I was trying, I really did try, but then when I started without capital, I'm a very risky entrepreneur.
Okay.
I start without capital. If the idea is there, I want to validate the idea. And so I go into it. And there are two things. It's either you succeed or you fail. And even if you succeed without the lifeline of the business, of what a business is, which is money, you will definitely struggle, you know. And so because of those challenges, somehow when the corona hit and everything else, and there was not enough capital to sustain, some challenges came in, and the business had to, stop operations. And even though there are talks about reviving it, but for me, just stopping and not being able to operate it and not taking it at that time, from the point that it was at to making sure that it was successful and still running is considered failure for me.
Yeah.
I consider that a failure. And I feel like if it was now, I would have done things a lot different.
Yeah.
But then I learned from that. I learned a lot, and what I also learned is that people respect when you fail because then they know that you have learned your lessons, and when they see you do something else, they see that you're doing better, and they can now invest in you and trust you. Because if you haven't failed and you haven't lost your own money, who's going to put their money in you?
True. Sure. That's nice.
So yeah,
So
that's me.
I'm gonna paint a real life scenario that has happened to someone about how they failed, and I want you guys to tell me like what you would have done differently or what you would advise them to do now. So there's a guy, let's call him X, was in the shoe business, not big, like just the get some, sell, get some, and then he was doing very well for himself. He did not register the business, but he was doing well. And then he got a girlfriend, serious girlfriend. She taught him how to register a business name, but she wanted them to be a partner, to form a partnership, which he obliged. And then when things broke up between them, she was the one that formed the name with her own name, not including his name. So she took the entire business. Now he considers himself a failure and a stupid person for not knowing that he was supposed to register a business, or knowing to check the certificate to confirm that it was him. And then he also considers himself a failure for losing all his money to a girl that was his wife. So if you were in that scenario, or if he was watching, how will you advise him to pick himself back up from this ground zero, from this failure? How will you, what are the things you're going to say to him to help him get back up? Let's start with Emily.
See, there's this thing about when you're doing business and mixing it with familiarity, too much familiarity. There are people who can draw the line and keep it professional,
Yeah.
and there are people who can't. And if you're going to be partners with your spouse, there are times you have the lovey-dovey conversations, and there are times you need to have serious conversations about where the money is coming from, which is the business. And because of the love settings, it's normally difficult to see the difference between the two. Now, I would definitely be a partner with my spouse. It wasn't wrong for him to be partners with the girlfriend, but it was wrong for him to not have registered in the first place. It's basic compliance. When you set up a business, in order to make sure that you're following compliance, you need to register, and you need to start paying taxes. Or if you're not paying taxes, you write to the necessary authorities so they know that you've not started making monies. So you find out what needs to be done to keep you safe. Because if it was not the girlfriend, it would have been the tax authorities or somebody else, because it was not compliant enough.
Oh, okay.
So there was that risk, and then there was operational risk, allowing somebody else into the toes of your business.
Yeah.
Allowing somebody else to manage or have so much access into your proprietary business. She can be a partner, maybe a dormant partner, or even if she was an active one, maybe she also invested some money in it. Let's say maybe she even had some money in it. But there should have been separate rules, understandings, and he must have a friend or somebody he knows, maybe someone he went to school with, who could have guided him, ask a lawyer or something, or go on Google, and ask, what are the risks of having somebody else's name for business that I am running? So you foresee some of these challenges ahead. Because when in business, there are different types of risk. You have the reputational, organizational, operational, different things like that. So you need to make sure that you're in line with whatever is coming for the business. And in this case, even his liquid, his capital is at risk, because it went away when this happened. Now, I would not consider him a failure though, because there's this thing about when you have your business, you are your business.
Yeah.
You know how you do that business. You can always start afresh and beat the competition, because you have the idea, you know how to do it, you have the customers and everything. They can take what you've already built, but there's a reason why some brands stay ahead whilst others follow, because you are the business. You are what the people know. So if he got the business to that level, and everything has been said and done, it's now been done. it's not a reason for you to stop. If this is your passion, there are better ways to do it now. You know, better ways to beat the competition. And you know the beauty about it, the advantage is you already know what she's doing. You already know what's the best she can do. So you already know how to beat that. So I don't think he should stop or consider himself a failure. If it was me, I would either do something different or I would start again and build something even better, because for me, I would consider that a challenge and I should win.
Awesome. That's so good. Joachim?
So thank you for the question. Going back on what you said, I'm impressed because she just said what we all think,
Yeah.
but with facts and real objectives. So
Mm-hmm.
I doesn't have much thing to say aside from that. The real source of the revenue of this company was his talent. So the only thing that you should focus on right now is investing it in his own talent
Mm-hmm.
and applying the lessons that he learned through this mistake or failure, depending on how you call it. So meaning trying to learn basic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Google, you mentioned friends. You could add also AI tools now.
AI tools, yeah.
We're in
Mhm.
2024. We have many tools now that give a very detailed process on how to protect himself from any kind of similar cases.
Yeah.
And again, for me, it's personal, but mixing business and partners, relationships is always a bad idea.
Right. Got you. And the king of Eswatini
Without maybe
kingdom.
having to repeat yourself on that question, I think you guys have already said a lot, and I can only take it at surface level, maybe. And I'm happy that you've just said it's Mr. X. So I don't know this guy. Only if I knew him, then he'd be in trouble.
Oh, oh,
But anyways, I think the fact that you touched something on branding, so you said the brand name and everything came up with the girlfriend. You know, as an entrepreneur, so this can be some form of advice to anyone who's trying to make it in the business world. Branding is so crucial. Branding it has to do with who you are more than anything. It can be the business itself, but it also has to align with your values. It has to represent the real you, who you are, what you stand for, and something that when you go to sleep, you know very well that I am this.
yeah.
Even if it fails, I can still stand up for it even the next day and forever.
Yeah.
So I can just maybe reiterate on branding. It's so important to know those aspects as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So, oh, okay. I get you. And I'm going to say I have a confession.
Okay.
I am ex.
Oh.
But I'm ex in
Hi,
20. I am. So I am, yeah. I did a business with my ex. I didn't register it, but he registered it, and then he made himself the CEO, and then made his family members the board of directors. And I didn't get anything from the business. It took everything from me, and that happened November 2017
Wow.
in Abuja. I remember when I came back to Lagos, I couldn't go back to my parents' house because I'd lost the business that they had given me money to do. I'd lost the man I thought I was going to marry. I'd lost everything, so I didn't want to go back to my parents. I stayed at a friend's place in a very tiny apartment. I couldn't eat, like I didn't have money, and then I had to wait for her to come back from work before I could eat and everything. But after 2 weeks of sufferness, I went back to my parents. I'm like, I've lost
It has
everything
happened.
and I've suffered for 2 weeks. Now I'm back, but I'm not gonna lie, it was depressing. I thought of taking my life. I attempted to take my life. Um, I'm happy that didn't work out that way because I just thought like I was on point zero. There was nowhere to come back because this was a business I started in 2015 with my parents' money, my loved ones' money, and this man has taken it in 2017, and I didn't have anything to my name but shame. So yeah, it was very depressing. It was very, it took the grace of God. I remember when the first attempt to take my life happened and I survived. The second time, I had like a rat poison that I was gonna drink in my room. I had locked the door and I called my best friend and I just told him like, I'm going to, this is it. I'm gonna end it all. And he goes, let's pray together. I'm a Muslim and he's a Christian, and he's like, let's pray together. And I'm like, I don't know why you want me to pray. I want to just go. And he's like, no, just go, just let's pray together. And he prayed and he just said the word, everything's gonna be fine. You just sleep it off. The rat poison, pour it out and sleep. And I'm happy I listened to him and I poured it out and I slept.
Wow.
And I woke up the next day and I felt better.
Yeah.
And this was in early 2018 when I thought I had lost it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm here now. And I just now think if I had taken the poison then,
Yeah.
I would have ended my entire story instead of ending a chapter. And yeah, so that's one of my relationships with failure. So I'm glad you guys shared your advice so that if there's any other woman or any other man out there that is going through the same thing now, they can learn from what you guys said, and they can also maybe, I don't know if I was brave then, but if it's an act of bravery, I hope they can also learn to put the poison away and just sleep and wake up the next day.
So I just want to say, first off, have you seen you? No, really, have you seen you? Because there's this thing that someone said to me today. I don't know which of the cohort members, but they were like, you have people who will see things in you that you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
And it's important to have those people in your circle who will actually identify, something. So thank God for your best friend. There's this thing about we don't respect the spiritual world enough.
Yeah.
But things happen in the spirit first before they come physical. And there was a reason why God placed your best friend in your life.
Yeah.
So we thank God for your best friend.
Yeah.
Because then we would never have gotten to know this amazing person or be here.
Yeah.
So God has a reason for everything.
Yeah.
And I think you should, every time you look back at that, all you need to just say is thank you, Lord, because he fought battles for you didn't even know were being fought.
Yeah.
So it's a thanksgiving, a testimony sort of thing.
A testimony. I like that. Yeah.
Well, I think you guys have a lot to, anyways, it's a thing or two about it.
Failure.
So
Yeah.
I think that's why we're here. We all have something to share.
Yeah.
About, so
Yeah.
we can't beat ourselves over anything.
Yes.
Like this one is. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have you guys here and to talk about it, to be able to share it. Again, this is one of my many failures, and I'm so happy that I'm able to share it. So I'm gonna take a break now, but when we come back, there's a game, but there's no winner.
Okay.
Oh.
I like it.
You like him?
I'm a games person.
Suspect.
We want the winner. It's about failures.
Okay.
Oh.
Maybe there'll be a winner. Maybe. Okay.
It's a safe space for failures.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're going on a quick break. But don't go anywhere. Share, like, repost. We will be right back. Welcome back, guys, and I still have my three amazing guests, Lindo, Joachim, and Emily. And now we are about to play a game. It's called This or That. So my first episode, I asked this question, but it was tricky, and I want to ask you guys now: a startup when you're making decisions, logic or emotions?
I'll just be real when it comes to this. For me, it's emotions, but you balance things out. This is life.
No
Anyways,
long,
I'll just
no
go with the first
emotions.
one,
So
Yeah,
if
startup.
your worker isn't performing well, she's not reaching a goal, you're gonna be emotional about it, and like I'm gonna keep you.
I'm happy that I'm in Lagos, so I'll say emotions over logic. You know what? As a startup founder, you should not give a about anything. I'm sorry about this, but you tell it like it is. You can't make it out here as a startup founder. You're trying to make it in a, you know, business is a wide thing. There are businesses, big businesses, which might probably the next morning they might be out of business as well. So as a startup founder, just give it your all. Go, go all in.
But what you're explaining is logic,
Well,
not emotions.
eventually logic does come in. That's the thing.
Oh no.
Eventually.
Okay, Joachim, let's come to you. As in a startup,
I think we should do a mashup of all the faces you just.
because it was taking me through. It was like emotions, then he spoke logically, then he's like, but
It was a
Anyway.
festival.
I don't know what
Thank you for this moment.
No, they'll probably agree with
Funny.
me somehow.
In a
But
sense, I agree with them.
Okay.
Because for me, like personally, I am more emotional than logical. But in a startup, you must surround yourself with your opposites. If you're emotional, you have someone logic by
Yeah.
your side and able to explain things because both of them are important. I think.
but logic or emotions, you guys are not gonna trick me. It is one or the other in a startup.
Like I said, I am emotional,
Okay,
but I need someone logic by my side.
nice. And then Emily,
It's easy, yes, but I know I should be logical most of the time. I am logical most of the time, but I'll go with emotions. I'm an emotional person, but I don't make decisions based on emotions. However, when you're starting and you have people dedicating themselves to you, in this regard, my team, and they're giving their all, regardless of how much you're paying them, you will overlook certain things as well that they will do because you can't be,
to be fair,
yes.
To be fair.
It reaches a point when you build systems in place and you get to a certain point, then everything fits in. But when you're just starting, emotions have to come in. Even with customers, you have to have that humanity side of you. It can't always be logic. You get, so I'll really go with logic over emotion over logic. But logic is also very important. Let's not undermine it.
Okay. And on that note, one more question. Are women more logical or emotional when it comes to startup? Just one answer, logical or emotional?
I'm so unfortunate when it comes to answering this question. But well, I don't know a lot of women startup founders. But then we have one right here.
Can you imagine?
Well, no,
Can you imagine?
Are we emotional or logical?
So,
Am I a ghost to you?
she's
This is a
already
message.
said,
We need more women in the startup
so
economy.
Exactly.
again, so
Start your
sorry,
startup,
I think thanks Joachim for making that point across me, getting it across. So I think women, like I've said, I don't know a lot of women startup founders, but I'm glad we have one here. And, I think
And two.
she's so special inside the person. I've learned a lot from her already. So
you.
I think I can't judge. I can't really judge. It's hard for me to judge.
He gave a speech just to say I can't.
Okay.
It's because I wear a lot of, I'm a man of many hats. So once you start bringing women into the subject, I have to be considerate to some regard.
I understand his opinion, and again, also I cannot judge about the emotionality or physicality of the woman. Wouldn't be appropriate.
It's
But
business at the end of it.
but I would say I think the conversation we had during this entire show shows definitely that now can sign it that women, either it is for startup or in life in general, are way more logical than men.
Thank you. That was what I was I was going to say. More logical,
Because
yeah.
surprisingly, contrary to what people might actually believe or think, we may act as if we're like the weakest. We give you a bottle of water to open for us. We ask you to do this, bring that. But when it comes to business or it comes to something that is important to us, We know this is what we do, this is what we're good at. We're very logical with that. Because the notion is a lot. It's negative that women are emotional, women are this, women are that. The disadvantages are different and there are plenty. Women have to cater for families and have to face other pressures and still have to make decisions that, have to be correct. So we are way more logical than we get credit for, to be honest.
You're right, Emily, because what they also say is behind every successful M, there's a W.
Ooh.
So on that note, as you've heard, women are more logical in businesses, and I believe that, to be honest, we are more logical. That brings us to the end of this episode, and I'm so happy to have had you guys here. Thank you so much for coming all the way. I hope you guys had fun.
We had fun, and I hope whatever batch comes out next, they can match the colors that we did. Oh my! Did you see the colors? Can you see the representation?
I don't think they're gonna match the color, but
I can see the buzz coming. I can see the buzz.
Okay.
Will be we all want to know more about your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go. Representing Angola. Come to Angola, guys. We're waiting you with the best people in all Africa after Nigeria and Eswatini, of course. But yeah, come to Angola. It is a welcoming place.
Since you're promoting you're doing tourism now, come to Sierra Leone too. Someone told me I look like a Yoruba, so I told him I might be a Yoruba demon.
Yeah.
But come to Sierra Leone. Our language, the pidgin is also similar to Creole. So, the Kushe, Kabo, Audi body, and all that. You blend in right.
So you guys,
I'm so glad how this
Your
time
king will
was
not be
going.
happy with you if you don't promote.
you guys, thank you so much for coming. And as you've heard from my guests, come to Eswatini, come to Sierra Leone. When you get to Angola, call Joachim. It's gonna pick you up from the airport. If he doesn't, don't call me. On that note, subscribe, like, comment, share, and see you on the next episode of A Thing or Two About Failure.